terms that I discussed in my previous video. So, Broadbent's filter model definition: a theory proposing that attention acts as a filter, selecting information based on physical characteristics before semantic processing occurs. Example: while listening to a conversation at a noisy party, irrelevant background noises are filtered out based on volume or pitch. Significance: highlights the brain's strategy to prevent sensory overload but struggles to explain phenomena like cocktail party effect. So, what is the cocktail party effect? It is basically the ability to focus on one auditory stimulus. Example: a conversation while ignoring others in a noisy environment. Example: hearing your name mentioned in a distant conversation despite being engaged in a different discussion. Relation: demonstrates selective attention's flexibility in prioritizing personally relevant stimuli. Now, intracellular recording is a technique for measuring voltage or current changes across a neuron's membrane. Example: studying how a neuron in the occipital lobe responds to visual stimuli in rodents. So it provides precise insights into individual neuron activity, unlike extracellular methods that measure sound activity. Top-down versus bottom-up attention. So top-down attention is goal-directed attention based on intentions and prior knowledge. Example: searching for a friend wearing a yellow jacket in a park. Bottom-up attention is basically stimulus-driven attention triggered by unexpected or salient stimuli. Example: turning towards a loud bang without conscious effort. Interplay: while top-down attention focuses on tasks, bottom-up attention ensures rapid responses to important changes in the environment. Signal detection theory. Now, this explains how individuals detect signals amidst noise by balancing hits, misses, and false alarms. A security guard detecting suspicious activity on surveillance footage. So, metrics: hit rate, correctly identifying a signal; false alarm rate, incorrectly detecting noise as a signal. Now, psychometric curve is basically a graphical representation of performance across varying difficulty levels in a task. Optimal design: an S-shaped curve where performance is low on easy items and peaks at moderate difficulty and decline on hard items. Example: a well-designed math test that differentiates abilities across a broad range of participants. Speed accuracy trade-off: the inverse relationship between the speed of a response and its accuracy. Example: typing quickly may result in more errors, while slower typing improves accuracy. Application highlighted in reaction time tasks requiring precision. Now, selective attention is the ability to focus on specific stimuli while ignoring others. Example: concentrating on a conversation at a crowded music festival with loud music banging from each side. Mechanisms often modeled using Broadbent's filter or Treisman's attenuation theory. Filter processing: Broadbent's model. So definition is that filter processing is the stage where irrelevant stimuli are filtered based on physical attributes. Example: ignoring background chatter to focus on a speaker's voice. Now, perceptual grouping and object-based attention is organizing stimuli into perceptual groups, enhancing object recognition. Examples are like grouping square shapes separated by space into a unified set. Now, pupil dynamics and attention: changes in pupil diameter in response to light intensity or cognitive load. Dilated pupils during problem solving reflect heightened cognitive effort. Applications: studied using eye trackers for insights into attention and mental disorders like ADHD. Filter attenuation theory proposes that irrelevant stimuli are weakened but not entirely blocked. Example: picking up on a distant conversation despite focusing elsewhere. Late selection theory argue that all stimuli are processed for meaning before filtering occurs. Example: processing background music lyrics unconsciously while studying. Conflict centers on whether filtering occurs before or after semantic processing. Receptive field definition: the area of a sensory space where a stimulus influences a neuron's firing. Area of sensory space where a stimulus influences neurons firing. A neuron in the retina responds to light in a specific part of the visual field, critical in understanding sensory processing. Now, overt versus covert attention. Overt attention is basically shifting focus through physical movements. Example: eye gaze. Example: turning your head to look at a flashing traffic light. And covert attention is, covert basically means hidden. So it is shifting focus without physical movement. In basically and using peripheral vision, right? So noticing a friend's wave in your peripheral vision without turning your head and acknowledging it. Extracellular recording definition: measures the sound electrical activity of neurons by placing electrodes outside the cell. Example: studying population level neural activity in a specific brain region. Now, fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging definition is a neuroimaging technique that measures brain activity by detecting blood flow changes. Neuroimaging technique measuring brain activity by detecting blood flow changes. Now, example: mapping active brain regions during decision making tasks. Resolution: excellent spatial resolution in limited temporal precision. Now, EEG, electroencephalography, captures rapid changes in electrical activity, ideal for studying attention and reaction times. Monitoring brain waves during a flanker task. Comparison with fMRI: superior temporal resolution, inferior spatial resolution. Now, Weber's law and JND. The JND, which is just notable difference, depends on the proportional change relative to the original stimulus intensity. Example: detecting a 2% increase in the volume of music. Just noticeable difference. Attention as a spotlight. So the metaphorical spotlight focuses cognitive resources on a specific area. Example, a magician directs your attention to one hand while performing sleight of hand with the other. Now PRP, psychological refractory period, is the delay in responding to a task or to a second task due to cognitive bottleneck created by the first. Psychological refractory period. Example, slowing down while switching from shooting enemies to collecting items in a video game. Liberal versus conservative bias in signal detection. Now, liberal bias increased false alarms to maximize hits. Example, a radar operator frequently alerts for potential threats. Conservative bias reduced false alarms at the cost of missing some hits. A cautious security system. Example, right? So we discussed all the important terms that were discussed in the previous video, and that's it for the video. So thank you guys for watching.